Greetings, fellow captains, and welcome back to World of Warships with the Hive Hound. And today we're starting an entirely brand new series. We're taking things a bit more seriously for a change. So, what we're doing, this is the introduction to the how to master your ship. So, first things first, I want to talk about what we need to agree what considers mastering your ship, because everyone knows a rabbit can climb a tree if it's flat enough. So a broken clock is right twice a day, and even a blind squirrel can find a nut. So posting ridiculously high damage gameplays, and I do regularly. I generally won't use a video, won't use a clip unless it's 150,000 damage, and alright, okay, I may get them slightly more than the average bear, but what considers mastering your ship? Because I could play the Edinburgh all day long. I could play it all week, nothing else. Get 100 games in it. I get that one game. It's giving me 180,000, and oh yeah, look, I've mastered my ship. But every other time I've done 30,000 damage. No, not good enough. So, what I'm considering, the way I consider that you've mastered your ship, is that on average, you do at least 2 times your ship's hit points, particularly for cruisers. HE spamming cruisers, well, I'm gonna say you need to do 3 consistently. So 30,000 hit points, you're going to have to be in the 90s, 100s if you're spamming solely HE, because how much does that actually help your team? Is the question, because 90% of your fire damage can be repaired. So if you do 200,000 damage in a game, and I don't know, let's say 100,000 damage of that is from fires, 90% of that's going to be repaired, so 90,000 of that is being repaired. So a 200,000 damage game in a HE spammer versus, because I'm starting this off in the British, this is why we're going down this road, versus is no better than 110,000 damage in an AP cruiser, because an AP cruiser you can only repair 10% of the damage. So all things being equal and fair, there is, a bit of wiggle room on this. Like destroyers, if you do twice the damage of your destroyer, well, congratulations, you've hit 1 torpedo. So we'll talk about the different ship classes as we get into them, because we're going to introduce every line, and on each line we're going to say, yeah, this is what you need to be doing consistently. And I came across this when I was like, right, I'm going to do this series, and I'm going to start off with the much unloved British cruisers. For some unknown reason, you don't see many of these ships out there in random battles, and it's a bit of a shame, because, like, fight me if you want, but okay. Besides the Belfast, we'll ignore that for the moment, because not everyone has got it. But the Tier 6. Fiji is probably the most powerful Tier 6 cruiser, and the Edinburgh Tier 7, it's pretty arguable that it is the best. If not, it's definitely, if it's not in your top 3, you're not playing them right. And that's exactly what this series is all about. It's highlighting how to get the most out of your ships. And I was doing the usual thing. I was like, right, okay, let's get that 150,000 damage plus game. And I realised I should have saved it. Believe me or not, up to you. But I played 10 games. I had 8 high calibers when I was switching between the Fiji and Edinburgh every match. And it dawned on me, like, well, yeah, I've mastered the ship. Every game I'm going out and I'm doing damage. And I'm doing a lot. So that's what we're going to focus on. So we're going to have a quick run through the British light cruisers. And so the Weymouth, the only Tier 1 cruiser that fires armor piercing. So you can, it's very good for learning Citadel. Clothing, okay, I don't really spend much time talking about tier 1s, tier 2s. We move on to the Danny then, and the Danny I believe is not Danny the first one we get torps on? Let's have a quick look. No, the clothing gets torps as well. So you get torps at tier 2, and so you get armor piercing torpedoes, and that continues to run through the whole class. Now, all of these early ships, if you don't know what you're doing, can be incredibly painful to play because they have no armor. Up to the Leander. We're going to ignore the Exeter because that's a heavy cruiser, and that's a completely different line. We're talking about the light cruisers. Things change a lot when you get to Fiji, because the Fiji, if I remember right, has 27mm of bow armor. So it can bow tank anything up to 15-inch gun. So a 15-inch gun will blow through you. 14-inch guns, such as Dunkirk, what's the other one? The Normandy. You're getting into the sort of territory there. You can bow tank some battleships. The Edinburgh has 30mm of bow armor, so you can tank 16-inch shells. Oh no, you can bow tank 15. I don't know, can you bow tank 16? Someone fact check me on that one, will you? I'll be honest with you, I'm rushing because I'm not rushing, I'm rushing. I'm trying to get this out quickly because a lot of stuff, personal things going on right now this week, but I wanted to cover this before we get our first video on the Leander out. So yeah, at tier 6 you get bow armor, and tier 7 you get even more bow armor, so you can start to be a bit more aggressive, shall we say. And as you can see by the elite XP I've accrued, I have put a good bit of effort into some of these ships. Okay, the Leander, I finished it. I got the Fiji, never looked back because you don't have the bow armor. So up to tier 5 it can be fairly painful. And well, what we're going to do now, we're going to hop over to this rather spiffing infographic that was designed for me by Gazzy Gaming. He does have a YouTube channel, I'll link it in below, but he's also amassed quite a following on Twitter. Not Twitter, Instagram. He does quite a lot of these infographics about ships, and they're pretty good. So, overview of we're going to do the Edinburgh. We'll go for the top tier. So the Edinburgh was one of 2 town class light cruisers by the Royal Navy, the other one being the Belfast. They both served during the Second World War, and they were the most powerful light cruisers in the Royal Navy, and they saw a great deal of combat experience. They complemented each other quite well, because when the Belfast was launched first, it went out, it got damaged, it returned to port. As it returned to port, off goes the Edinburgh, and so on and so forth, right up until 1942, when receiving 5.5 tons of gold, which was given as a payment, a lend-lease to the Russians. The Edinburgh was actually struck by, a torpedo. it was struck by a torpedo on its port, and then struck by a torpedo on its starboard. So yeah, she took an absolute hammer, and it took a lot, 2 torpedoes right in the center to actually sink her. But if you want to learn more about that, I did actually do a video on the sinking of the Edinburgh, and a bit of a deeper look into its history, so check that out. So she inherited powerful main guns from her predecessors. That'd be the Commonwealth class, so that's where your Fiji comes into it, and really powerful AA. AA is not really a thing at the moment for us, but it will be. It's coming back. So, strong points, sequential torpedoes, so you can shoot them in a spread of 3. I believe it's 3 on each side of pretty much all of them, or you can fire them individually, which lets you control the spread. If you're coming round a corner and there's Scharnhorst or a Bismarck just sitting there, you can make sure you stick every single one of them in the centre. Flare for piercing, equipped with armour piercing shells only. Great heal, repair party restores severe damage. The repair on the British cruisers is one of the highlights for sure. It does have a good repair, and it will even repair a lot more armour piercing damage than other ships. So that is something to note. You don't want to take damage, but if you do, you can recover a lot more of it than anyone else. And bad points, thin armour. It does have modest armour, and it can be punished easily if not angled appropriately. But the British cruisers they do something that no other cruisers do. When you turn any other ship, and doesn't mean cruisers, any other ship, you lose speed, and that speed continues to drop until it's gone down a substantial amount. Now the British cruisers initially lose a couple of knots on a full hard turn, but they only lose 2 or 3 knots before they start speeding back up again. They absolutely defy the laws of physics, so making them really manoeuvrable. So that is a strong point to take into account. So recommended our commander recommendations: Bruce Fraser with Kutuzov and Yamamoto for range and accuracy. Take the range perk for the first slot. Second slot is torpedo speed, punch through in the third. I can't remember what the last perk is, although rudder shift's not a bad one, and always go with fully packed. So that gives us more smoke, more heals, more sonar, or more radar, depending on your ship. This is the offensive build. So with this ship, you want to have aiming systems mod 1, steering gear mod 2, concealment mod, and the fire control mod. Because, alright, you can kite away, but it's not quite as easy as with Reginald Freight. To be honest with you, Cassie's done a good job. I can't remember the 2 commanders that are accompanying through it, but I'm sure they're for rudder shift and can see. I think, is that Norman Scott for accuracy? Basically, if you've got Makawa leveled up, go for Makawa, because you're going to go for a sneakier build. So we have Ingenious, so we can see how many people are targeting us and know what to do, where to go. It's sort of that early warning system, like, oh shit, there's 4 ships looking at me, best duck out of here. Second perk to increase your movement, maximum movement speed and your rudder shift time. Sponge to reduce the damage, incoming damage. Rudder shift for perk 4, and fully packed again, because you want to take advantage of having those heals, those smokes, those radars, whichever ones you choose to go with. A quick note, a sort of final point. I'm not going to go into really simple details on how to be good at ships. This How to Master Your Ship series are for those of you who've got a good level of knowledge. You're going out, you're doing damage, but you're trying to nitpick. You're trying to get that extra 5,000-10,000 damage to your stats. You want to increase your win rate. It really is for those. So if I've added a bunch of videos to the How to Master Your Ships playlist. They're not under the same title. They're videos that I've done in the past that go through the basics, like aiming, angling, how to play destroyers, how to play battleships, how to play cruisers, in general terms. So I could remake them. I could, but I done these videos a long time ago, probably when I was like 200, maybe 300 subscribers, so a lot of you probably haven't seen them. The Arnold, Horatio, Dankworth, Gastrel ones might not be everyone's cup of tea. I was experimenting, I was trying something out, and it was fun at the time. So it's entirely up to you what you think of them, but they're there as an option. So if you want to get a sort of better basic understanding, click on the playlist and watch it from the start, and you'll slowly but surely build up that knowledge and get better, which is what this is all about. It's all about knowing your ship and figuring out exactly how to get the best out of it. So no gameplay this time because it was long enough introducing the series and going over the commanders and talking about the basics. But do hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to punch that like button, and well, until next time, take care.